The motel at the edge of town. Last fall, I was sent to a small town in northern Pennsylvania for work. I do commercial refrigeration repair, which means I travel wherever something breaks, usually grocery stores or restaurants with walk-in freezers. At the time, we were short on technicians, so I'd been covering a lot of smaller towns. This one felt off the moment I arrived. It was the kind of place where everything shuts down early. By the time I drove in, most of the storefronts were already dark. A few flickering signs buzzed weakly in the distance, but other than that, the streets were empty. Not peaceful, just empty in a way that made it feel like you didn't belong there. I was scheduled to stay 3 nights. My company had booked me a motel on the edge of town, the only one with vacancies. When I pulled into the lot, the sky was just starting to darken. The place was small, maybe a dozen rooms total, all in a single row facing the parking lot. Only a handful of cars were parked. While I signed in, she kept glancing over my shoulder. Not casually, not distracted, nervous. When she handed me the key, she hesitated just long enough for me to notice. Then she said, "If anyone knocks on your door tonight, don't answer it unless it's me or the owner." I blinked, thinking I misheard. She continued like it was normal. "And if you hear anything strange outside, call the office. Don't go out there." I asked if the area was dangerous. She gave a quick shake of her head. "Just some drifters sometimes. They bother guests." Her tone didn't match her eyes. I didn't press it. I was tired and, honestly, I just wanted to eat and sleep. My room was second from the end. That mattered more than I realized. Inside, the room looked like it hadn't changed in years. The carpet had dark stains that didn't come out. The dresser had cigarette burns across the top. The air felt stale, like it had been sealed too long. Still, it was a place to sleep. I dropped my bag, grabbed food from a nearby gas station, and came back around 8 o'clock. That's when I noticed the truck. 2 spaces from mine sat an older dark green pickup. The engine was running, but the headlights were off. Inside, a man sat completely still, both hands on the wheel. He didn't look at me when I passed, didn't move, didn't react, just sat there. I told myself he was waiting for someone, but something about it stuck with me. By 10:30, I was in bed. About 20 minutes later, I heard footsteps outside. At first, I ignored it. People were staying there, it made sense. Then the footsteps stopped, right outside my door. I waited. No knock, no key in the lock, just silence. After a few seconds, the footsteps moved away. I exhaled. Then, a minute later, they came back. Slower this time, more deliberate. And again they stopped at my door. That uneasy feeling started creeping in. I got up and checked the peephole. Nothing. The walkway was empty. I told myself it was someone confused about their room. Eventually, I laid back down. Around 1100, there was a knock. Sharp, controlled. I froze. Another knock followed. Same rhythm, same force. I stood up slowly and checked the peephole again. No one. The walkway was completely empty. That's when my stomach dropped. I stepped back, locking the deadbolt again, even though it was already locked. As I turned, I noticed something else. The curtain had shifted slightly. just enough that someone outside might be able to see in. I closed it fully and turned off the lamp. From that point on, I didn't sleep. I just listened. Around midnight, I heard it, a faint scraping sound, metal against metal, coming from the door. I moved slowly toward it, trying not to make a sound, and looked through the peephole. This time, I saw someone, crouched low, so low that most of their body was hidden. I could only see the top of a dark baseball cap and part of a shoulder. They were right outside my door, close enough that if I opened it, I would have been face to face with them. My heart started pounding so hard I thought they might hear it. After a few seconds, they stood up and walked away quickly. I heard their footsteps fade toward the end of the building. I called the office immediately. The woman sounded irritated until I told her someone had been outside my door. Then her voice changed, quiet, sharp. She asked if I had opened it. I said no. She told me to stay inside. A couple minutes later, headlights swept across my curtains. A car drove slowly through the lot, then left. The office called back and said no one was there. Probably just someone messing around. It didn't feel like that. I barely slept. Every sound woke me up. At 5:15 a.m., my truck alarm went off. I jumped up and looked through the window. A man stood at my truck, the driver's door open. Tall, dark jacket, hat. Then he turned toward my room, directly toward me, like he knew I was watching. He shut the door and walked quickly toward the road behind the motel. That's when I called the police. They came, took a report, checked my truck, nothing missing. One officer didn't seem convinced anything happened. The older one did. When I told him about the knocking, the crouching, his expression changed. Before he left, he told me something that stuck. If anything happens again, don't open that door for any reason. I should have left that morning. I didn't. And that was my mistake. That night it got worse. The same truck came back, parked at the far end of the lot, lights off, watching. Around 11 o'clock, I heard slow footsteps again, but this time, they didn't go to the door. They went to the window. A soft tap, then another. Then something dragged slowly down the glass. A fingernail, or something like it. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I knew whoever was out there could hear me if I did. Then I heard something else. The room next to mine. The door unlocking, opening. That room had been empty. I knew it. I had checked. Now someone was inside, moving quietly. Too quietly. Like they didn't want me to hear them. That's when I called 911, whispering, trying not to make a sound. While I was on the phone, something hit the wall behind my bed. Once. Then again, lower, testing it. Then silence. A few seconds later, I heard the bathroom windows start to move. Not rattling, opening. I ran in and shoved it shut. Something on the other side pushed back, not hard, but enough. Enough to let me know someone was there. Then footsteps at my front door, more than one. Soft knocking again. Slow.
You know, it's funny how things click into place sometimes. I was just going about my business, you know. Then boom, it hit me. This wasn't some random coincidence. They'd been watching, planning. I didn't finish the job that night, just left. And I'm not going back, never.